Thank you very much, everybody, for joining this week's Property Natter. I'm joined by Harry Trueman of Andrews Online, the soon-to-be president of Property Mark, ARLA. So thanks for joining, Harry. Very good to have you here today.
Hi, Nat. Thanks for having me. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, that's great. So look, we're going to dive straight into what's happening in the market, what's happening with you guys, and really just get your view on everything what's going on at the moment, if that's all right. So
Yeah.
just kicking that off, really, I guess an overview from you, if you wouldn't mind, on the kind of the state of the market, transaction levels, that sort of thing, Harry.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm on letting side, but I can give an estate agency sort of picture as well. We are in interesting times, aren't we, for estate agency?
Certainly are.
We are actually
Certainly.
there was an article in Estate Agency today that June transaction levels were at their 3-year low. But what I think is really important to remember is that they're at a 3-year low since the pandemic. And actually, we're not seeing the peaks that we were seeing post-pandemic with stamp duty holidays. We are seeing a return to pre-pandemic levels. And, you know, listing levels across the UK still very similar to pre-pandemic levels, consistently in the 30,000s each week. For Andrews, we've actually seen, in terms of listings, we've seen our highest month all year for listings in July, which is really great to see. And, you know, with mortgage rates the way they are, it just means that sales are a lot harder. And I think we're having to go back to basics on our sales applicants. We're really having to work those applicants as much as we can. You can't just put a property on the portals and it sell anymore. You've really got to work it to get those sales agreed. There is some slight rays of light with mortgages, which hopefully will help. I saw an article in the paper last Friday, which says that 5 of the 10 biggest lenders are starting to price rates down.
Yeah.
So we've gone from our peak.
News.
It is good news, yeah. So we've gone from our peak of 6.83 average in May. Now we're looking at 6.14%, 6.15% for a 2-year fix. So we're starting to see those mortgages really come down to a much more manageable rate, which is fantastic. But yeah, in terms of transactions, I think one of the biggest issues that we're seeing is just our convoluted conveyancing process. Really, it's just holding things up for everyone. With, you know, lease issues, we're seeing chains collapse. It's a real frustrating time for estate agents, and what you thought might be coming through in your exchanges is just not coming through. It's really hard to forecast as estate agents in terms of what income you're going to be getting, and from a buyer's perspective, and a vendor's perspective, it's a really frustrating time. I know personally my sister's buying a house at the moment, and she is having to move in with me today temporarily, because her chain is now basically, somebody in her chain was going to buy a new build, they pulled out, they're now buying a probate property that's adding an extra 8 weeks to their chain. It's just a whole mess at the moment. So yeah,
so when you get home, Emma's cooking the dinner, right?
Emma is cooking the dinner. Yeah, I sent her out.
There you go.
She's not paying me rent. She's just she's just buying my food.
Well, at least you can have it cooked and on the table when you get home, because you're obviously a busy lady. So that's good news. I mean, you mentioned about the activity levels at the moment. Do you think we'll see an increase in fees across the board, either with Andrews or with any agents right now?
I think we're not really looking at increasing fees. I think for us, we're more looking at adding value to our vendors and to our landlords, rather than, you know, Andrews has never wanted to be the cheapest agent. I think that if you're in a race to be the cheapest agent, you're really just in a race to the bottom. And if you think about it, if you have to find buyers, do viewings, try and get them to put an offer in, progress that sale through to completion, which could take 6 months, and you're charging a £750 fixed fee, which there are agents who do that, especially in my area, you're basically not earning anything on that at all. We've never really wanted to be in the cheap fees section, but I think for us, we are sticking strong to our fees, our standard fees that we charge, and we're trying to look at our client value proposition to add more value to those vendors, to make sure that they know that what they are paying is really valuable. So yeah, we're not looking to increase them. We're not looking to reduce them. We're just looking to stay the same, but add more value.
Okay, that's great. As we mentioned earlier, president next year in June, which is fantastic. Congratulations. Any idea of your plans as president when you step into the role?
Yes. So when you go for vice president, which is how you start, you have to sort of be voted in by members, and you have to put forward what you want to focus on during a presidential year. And my things that I wanted to focus on when I got voted in are really the same. It goes well with the fact that when I become president in June, it will probably be smack bang in the middle of rental reform and when that's coming in, which is great, excellent. But
Yes.
it means that I'm going to be spending a lot of time on the road, talking to agents, talking to landlords, educating them about rental reform. And one of the things I wanted to focus on in my presidential year, before I even went for this, was encouraging members to lobby more with their MPs, to talk more to government, to try and get them to see what our views are as letting agents. So I'll definitely be encouraging more agents and landlords to do that across the country, because we can really make some change here with rental reform. We saw changes at the last minute with tenant fee ban. We saw in the Welsh legislation, they were able to, at the last minute, mean that they could have fixed term tenancies in their legislation that came in recently. So from my angle, what I say to all landlords and letting agents when I talk to them is choose one thing and really lobby hard on that one thing, and you might be able to make a change. If you're all trying to go for different changes, it's not going to work. We just need to look at the biggest one and really push hard for that. So I'll be talking to agents about that. That's what I'll be focusing on. The other thing for me that I'm really keen to do during my year is just to be a positive role model for women in senior leadership roles in the industry. So there aren't enough women in senior leadership roles in our industry. We're still, woefully underrepresented in the sector. And as president of ARLA and as a group lettings director for Andrews, I want women to be able to see that that's possible, that they can achieve that. I'm not special in any way. I've just been really lucky in my career and I've worked really hard. And I just want to be able to demonstrate that to other women, that they can go for that. They can go for promotions. They can ask for pay rises. They can reach those heights if they just, put their mind to it, really. So those are my two things.
Okay, well, that's lovely. Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, I think everybody would like to see more women in those roles as well. So that's a great thing for you to be going for there. So, I mean, what do you say are the benefits of the trade body, or joining the trade body if they're not already a member, for our agents who are listening to you now?
Well, how long have you got? Right. So to be to be an ARLA member or NEA member, just a standard membership is £295 a year. So that is 80 pence a day for your membership, which is far lower than some of the other sort of membership organizations that you can be a part of within the industry. And for all of that, you get a massive plethora of benefits. So you've got your bulletins and you've got your updates when legislation changes happen, which we know in lettings they happen a lot. You've got weekly free webinars, annual free conference ticket now, quarterly magazine delivered to your door. You've got newsletters that come out all the time with lots of different information and articles that you can read. A free ARLA helpline, which for letting agents is gold dust, really, because ridiculous things happen all the time in lettings and you don't always know how to deal with it. So the ARLA helpline is really important. Access to templates and documents. So they just released a non-housing act tenancy agreement, so that's really helpful. We've also got the members Facebook group, which means that you've got a real community of people that you can be part of, ask questions when you've got problems. Money off courses, access to conferences, all of that kind of stuff, all for 80 pence a day, which I think in our industry, you need not only that help and support, but you need to feel like you're part of a community that you can ask for help, ask questions. So I just think there's massive value with being an ARLA or NEA or any of the Property Mark umbrella member to get that support and guidance.
Okay, no, that's great. Well, then, so for that fee, that sounds like 80p a day, you said. So
yeah,
it's cheaper than your coffee, right? So sounds like it's well worth it.
I know.
So okay, so I wanted to ask you, do you think we'll see ROPA regulations coming in anytime soon?
Well, the thing is, with rental reform coming in, the sensible thing would have been to add ROPA in. to the renter reform. However, our government, as we know, aren't that sensible. And although they brought in a landlord database as part of renter reform, there's no talk at all about regulating property agents, which I think is ridiculous. It's something that Property Mark are really lobbying for. We need to be regulating agents. We need to make sure agents know what they're doing. We are trusted with multi-million pounds worth of investments for landlords. But yeah, at the moment, there's no talk of it. It's been kicked into the long grass as far as we know. And we've just got to keep pushing for it, really.
Yeah, so it's watch this space. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, basically.
All right. Well, thank you. I wanted to make it short and sharp, and that's been fantastic. But before we sign off, what would be your advice to agents at this time? I mean, it's a bit of a hard time. We've got a lot going on. So for anyone watching this now, as you come in towards your presidency, what's your advice to agents watching this?
So I've got my biggest piece of advice has got to be a part of a membership body. Make sure you're getting that help and support and guidance.
Of course.
If you're a letting agent, you need that help and support and guidance. If you've got all of these changes on the horizon, renter reform, changes to EPCs, all of that, you need support with that. You need to know what's going on so that you can provide your landlords with the best possible service. For estate agents, it's just really you've just got to be persistent with that pipeline. You've literally got to sit on the phone and hold to speak to solicitors for hours if you need to. These sales are not just going to go through unless you really fight for them. So those are my 2 bits of advice for letting agents and estate agents.
Okay, all right, that's brilliant. Okay, Harry, that's fantastic. Thanks very much for your time today, and we'll perhaps follow up with this once you've settled into the new role over as president, if that's all right.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nat.
All right, that's brilliant. Thanks for your time today. Cheers.
Thanks.